And welcome Senator Sanders and Congressman Deluzio to beautiful central Pennsylvania. My name is Nathan Davidson, but since we're all friends here, just call me Nate. My wife and I are raising our two beautiful kids right here in the city of Harrisburg, where I have the honor of representing my neighbors in the Pennsylvania State House.
Okay, hi, this is Ashley with Status Coup News, and John Farina and I are live from the Bernie Sanders Fight the Oligarchy tour, where Nate Davidson is currently speaking. So we are going to be reporting from the rally tonight, so stay tuned. And there will be more from us, but I'm going to turn it over to Nate Davidson right now so we can get a little bit of what he's saying.
We have no king. These guys were unelected deciding our future. You know, just down the road from here in Philadelphia 250 years ago, so a group of folks signed a document. Right at the top it read, "We the people." And the idea that we, all of us, do not need a king or oligarchs, sparked a revolution across the globe. A revolution founded on the power of the people, fighting against those who would use money or brute force to subdue us. My friends, we find ourselves again in a we the people moment. Once again, it is all of us versus the wealthy few, and once again, in America, those billionaires are coming for us. They're coming for our health care, our retirement, our kids' education. They're coming for the right to due process, and let me say, our union brother Kilmar, bring him back to America today. When they're trying to use their excessive wealth to manipulate our elections and keep working people down, so that's why I introduced a bill in the Pennsylvania State House. It's called Preventing Billionaires from Influencing Pennsylvania Elections. Not that complicated. Our votes are not for sale. Elections are not a game. And paying people to vote is a corrosive assault on our Constitution, and enough is enough. And folks, I have more good news. Because here in Pennsylvania, we know what to do with oligarchs. Here in Pennsylvania, we know that worker power is the antidote to oligarchs. We taught the world how to take on the powerful and unite as workers. From Homestead to Hershey, our workers forged the steel that saw our nation grow to new heights. But now, I got some bad news, folks. It's just today, another casualty of the economic chaos coming from that guy down there in Washington. Thank you. You know, in Steelton, the birthplace of the Pennsylvania steel industry, some Fortune 500 company just announced another plant closure and laid off hundreds of Pennsylvania steel workers. And I thought all these tariffs were supposed to get the plants open, not the other way around. You know, the more I look around at the economic chaos coming from Washington, the more I know working families need to unionize. Because organized labor built the middle class, and the middle class built America. And that is why I will never give up on the fight to enshrine the right to organize in our Constitution. My friends, thank you for coming out today. But in this We the People moment, I'm going to need to ask you for a little help. Because as someone we all know once said, not me, us. Not me, us. And I want to share something I learned from Senator Sanders. There is something more powerful than oligarchs. That is the power of the people. Of all of us here today. Together, we the people have the power. And our movement is not based on fear or hatred, violence or division. No, our movement is based on people standing in solidarity, together, fighting for our communities. And I need you to take that power and put it to work. Talk to your neighbors, knock on doors, find a candidate or campaign who is running right now, this year in 2025, and get involved. And if it takes you running for office, then run for office. I'll be right there with you. I'll be there every step of the way. So my name's Nate Davidson. I'm a state representative here in Harrisburg. And I want to thank Alex G. for opening us up tonight. Give a big round of applause for them. My best friends in labor, Angela, Maurice, and Jim, who you're going to hear for. Congressman DeLuzio, thank you for coming here. And Bernie, you will always have a friend in Pennsylvania. Now let's tell him how many friends he has. All right, and now I have the great pleasure of introducing my dear friend Maurice Cobb, Pennsylvania AFL-CIO Secretary-Treasurer and proud Pennsylvania steelworker. Give it up for Maurice.
Good evening, Pennsylvania. Thank you all for coming out. Like Nate said, my name is Maurice Cobb, Secretary-Treasurer of the Pennsylvania AFL-CIO, and I have the absolute honor of representing over 700,000 members and union members in Pennsylvania. Also, previously, I spent nearly 2 decades as a fourth-generation steelworker at the very plant that Nate just talked about that they announced a closing at today. So I come up here with a little bit of a sore heart, but it makes me so happy to see this packed room, to see that we're not going to take this type of stuff sitting down. The labor movement is the backbone of our economy, and manufacturing is the structure of that backbone. For more than a century, Pennsylvanians like my family and my co-workers down the road in Stilton have been making the steel that goes into our iconic American landmarks, like the Golden Gate Bridge and the World Trade Centers. And it's because of those folks and the labor movement that tons of facilities across this country remain the anchors of our communities. Good union jobs support quality schools, public services, and our wages sustain small businesses. Union activism builds stronger and more resilient communities that we live and take part in. But unfortunately, because of what happened in November, all of this is under attack. As some of you here may know, greedy corporations for the past 4 decades have been all too eager to shift production from our plants here and our manufacturing facilities here overseas. They take advantage of the low wages and the lax environmental standards of those countries, pitting worldwide workers against each other, all for a race to the bottom. Also, that already ultra-wealthy CEOs and shareholders can grow even richer. That's what I say. As we see foreign corporations doing more and more illegal dumping their products on our market under the guise of free trade, or route them through sham companies in third world countries, the same things are devastating our U.S. domestic manufacturers in the steel, rubber, paper, and many other industries. Workers and communities continue to suffer because of this unfair trade, communities like Central Pennsylvania. And if there's one thing I'm sure of, it's that American workers will outcompete any worker anywhere if given a level playing field to work on. But what we have right here now is not a level playing field. Now I know some of you may be thinking, all this talk about trade and tariffs, It sounds like somebody else I may know. But I promise you, stick with me. This is going to go somewhere. So there's a difference. Here's the thing about tariffs. As union members, we understand that tariffs, when they're used thoughtfully, part of a holistic, coordinated strategy, is much different than what this administration is doing. Under the previous administration, we saw tariffs used as a part of a wider, worker-centered trade policy, one that targeted cheaters, one that built and maintained relationships with our allies, not destroyed them, one that paired trade remedies with investments in our infrastructure and robust Buy American provisions. This in turn helped increase our demand to rebuild our domestic industries for the long term. But what Donald Trump is doing right now by weaponizing tariffs isn't going to end well. Applying them indiscriminately, burning down long-standing relationships with our trade partners like Canada, with no true end game, other than a reckless trade war, just so he can line his pockets, him and his buddies, and manipulate the stock markets and our 401ks and our retirements. Exactly. This scorched earth approach does not help workers, and it doesn't create jobs. It's the bottom line. It certainly doesn't promote or keep lasting widespread prosperity nationwide. But make no mistake, we must vigorously enforce our trade laws and hold cheaters accountable, but we must think bigger than what Donald Trump is doing. We need to invest in our communities like Central Pennsylvania. We need to increase access to labor unions so that we can balance scales between workers and greedy corporations. We must band together to take back the political power that the billionaire class has used against us to restore freedom and democracy. It's going to take all of us, everyone in this room and everyone you touch. It's going to take all of us trusting each other, fighting for as long as it takes. And I know we can do it because this kind of unity is exactly the foundation that the labor movement was built on years ago. So join me, brothers and sisters, siblings and fellow activists. Join me together to fight for good jobs, strong communities, and above all, American dream that our children can live on. Solidarity now, solidarity tomorrow, and solidarity forever. Now I'd like to introduce a brother of mine. He's an awesome union leader here in Central Pennsylvania. His name is Jim Enders, and he's the president of the Central PA Building Trades. Let's put a hand together for him.
Hey, this is Ashley with Status Coup. John Farina and I, as you can see, are live in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania from Bernie Sanders' Fight the Oligarchy tour. We're going to be doing some interviews after all of the speakers, so please do stay tuned with us. We'll have more to come after the speakers tonight.
My brother Maurice Cobb said I'm the president of the Central PA Building and Construction Trades. I'm also a third-generation proud member of Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local 520 right here in Harrisburg. My son is now also following in his great-grandfather's footsteps and is currently a Local 520 apprentice. Like all union men and women who've come before him, he'll spend his life building and maintaining America, selling his life in 1-hour increments. In return, only asking for one thing: the right to collectively bargain. Unions built the middle class, and the middle class built America. It was built with our hands and our sweat and our blood and our sacrifice. We created the strongest economy this world has ever known. Not billionaires, not CEOs. Working people made America. Working people like my son, like my father and his, and like many of you. But today, working people are under attack by our own elected officials. 8 years ago, the billionaire-controlled administration waged war on workers' rights, stripped away worker protections, and attacked apprenticeships. They handed the power of the economy over to the very corporations that believe workers are disposable. They promised jobs. They promised respect. They promised an infrastructure plan. The only thing they delivered was broken promises. And now, in round two, it's even worse. While billionaires reap tax breaks and record profits, good-paying jobs disappear. Wages stagnate or drop. Working families will once again struggle just to get by. And they think we will just sit by quietly while they destroy the middle class. Hell no! I refuse to stand by while the right to organize, the right to collectively bargain, the right to earn family-sustaining wages is ripped away from all of us. I refuse to watch our hometowns crumble and our pensions be sold off to Wall Street. America belongs to the people who built it, and it's time we take it back. It's time to call out every politician who puts corporate profits ahead of American families. We must demand better, and not just demand it, we need to fight for it. The middle class is not some relic of the past. It's the engine that fuels this country's future. Reverend Vernon Johns once said, "If you see a good fight, get in it." I'm asking all of you to join me in the good fight to save this country. Stand up, speak out, and fight back. Thank you. It's now my honor to introduce our next speaker. Please join me in welcoming the president of the Pennsylvania AFL-CIO, Angela Ferrito.
Good evening. Hello, Harrisburg. I am Angela Ferrito, and I am the president of the Pennsylvania AFL-CIO. We represent 700,000 union members in Pennsylvania, members from every sector of work. Our members are teachers, clerical workers, electricians, baristas, bus drivers, nurses, rail workers, mine workers, steel workers, stagehands. We are labor. And our fight is the same as the entire working class. We are all fighting for dignity, equality, fair schedules, safe conditions, health care. We are labor. Ever since Ronald Reagan fired the air traffic controllers in 1981, unions unions have been on the decline, removing the one check we have on corporate greed. They've stolen our money and our time. And now they're trying to dismantle our democracy and take our rights away while they do it. Yeah. But the one thing I know is that the power is always in the people. These oligarchs might have the money and the control, but we have the power. Nothing moves without the working class. Everything good we have is because people fought and died for our rights. Social justice is directly tied to economic justice. We are the ones that we have been waiting for. And it's time to build your union. We all deserve a good job with a living wage, a decent home, health care as a human right. A good education without a death sentence. And a world where we can breathe the air, drink the water, and hike and run and swim in our parks. A time and a space for all of us to live and to grow and to prosper. Build your union. We must stay vigilant against our oppressors. We must reject every attempt to distract or divide us. We must all become activists. Working people are not the problem. Social Security is not a Ponzi scheme. Feeding the hungry and caring for the sick is not a strain on our system. These money-hungry oligarchs who believe that taking away all things that make our nation great so that they can line their pockets are the problem. This is our country. And I've got news for anyone who thinks that we are just going to lay down and let them take it. Pennsylvania is the firewall, and we are not going to let them take it. We cannot tire. We cannot retreat. We must organize, mobilize, and save this great democratic country we call home. Keep finding strength in each other. Solidarity is the most potent tool the working class has. So I'll leave you with this, Harrisburg. Solidarity now, solidarity still, and solidarity forever. Power to the people!
So a lot of talk about labor and what it means to be working class in this country right now and the struggle that working people are facing. If you are just joining us on this live stream, this is Ashley with Status Coup, and John Farina and I are reporting on the ground live from Bernie Sanders' Fight the Oligarchy tour.
Congressman Chris DeLuzio.
And please stay tuned after the speakers, because John and I will be going around talking to working people about why they're here tonight. So you won't want to miss it. Please stay tuned.
How we doing, Harrisburg? We fired up? We fired up? I'm Congressman Chris DeLuzio from Western Pennsylvania. I'll tell you, I represent a swing district all around Pittsburgh. Any Steelers fans in the house? Come on, here we are. Look, I am damn proud. I was the only congressional Democrat to win a competitive race in Pennsylvania last year. I know how to win a tough fight. I'll tell you, corporate bosses and their bootlicker Republican politicians, they spent millions trying to beat me in 2 elections. They didn't win, did they? And I didn't have to be some weak-kneed corporate shill to beat them. We know how to win and fight around here. And I'll tell you, they called me all kind of names. They called me, the Republican said he's delusional. The Republican said he's this lefty professor. They call me congressman now. That's right. Now, you've got a congressman right here, don't you? Yeah. An insurrectionist, am I right? A guy who tried to overthrow our election, who tried to throw out all of your votes and my vote in 2020. Has anybody seen this guy? Anybody seen him in a town hall? These guys are afraid to hear from their voters. I say this, that's the job. You got to face your constituents. If you don't want the job, get the hell out of the way. Now, something tells me you're sending this guy packing next year. Am I right? Is he done? All right. Well, look, I'm a proud Navy guy. You got any veterans in the house? All right. I'm a voting rights lawyer. I'm a guy who fought and organized a union with the steelworkers. I know labor's in the house tonight. Whether you're on a ship at sea, on the ground in Iraq, an organizing unit, you learn about solidarity. It doesn't matter what you look like, the color of your skin, who you love, how you pray. We're in this thing together, and you know what? You never leave someone behind. You look to the person to your left, the person to your right. That's someone whose dignity matters to you. That's someone whose freedom matters to you. Absolutely. That is our strength, and let me tell you, they want to divide us. It doesn't matter whether you come from a big city or a mill town, you're from farm country or the suburbs. We are in this thing together, and we are united in our fight for the common good. Are we going to let them divide us? Are we going to stand together? Damn right. The oligarchs in the White House and the boardrooms, though, they know that's a power that they can't buy. And it's in all of us. Do you feel that power? I see it here. I see it in the town halls. I see it on the streets. I see it on the picket lines. That is our power, and you all have it in your hands. The oligarchs, they don't want you to have that power. They want us fighting each other. They want us divided so they can get away with plundering our government. The funnel tax giveaways to big corporations and billionaires. And you know what? They do it while they wrap themselves in the flag. You see the ads? You know what I'm talking about. They wrap themselves in the stars and stripes. By the way, wearing their Made in China MAGA hats. We know that. Come on. I'll tell you what. It sure as hell wasn't patriotic to pardon January 6th rioters and cop beaters. It's not patriotic to gut Social Security. It's not patriotic to gut Veterans Affairs and Veterans Care. I'll tell you, it is not patriotic to let bought and paid for politicians like pigs at the trough feed at corporate money, which we see in our politics every day, every darn day. These phony patriots, we know this, they are waging war on the American dream. You feel it. I'll tell you what's patriotic. Standing your ground and fighting back, which is what you're all doing right now. I'm 40 years old, whatever that makes me. My kids have given me some grays, maybe. We'll see, all right? But look, serious point. I'm 40. If you're my age or younger, we're the first people since the Second World War. We should expect to do better off than our parents. That is the American dream going away from all of us. It's been ripped away. It didn't just happen. And people are working longer than ever, more debt, housing and health care is more expensive. You can't afford your lives. And again, I don't say the American dream has slipped away. It has been ripped away from people. Taken by this out-of-control corporate power and the corrupt politicians who embolden it. Guys like Trump and Musk. Those are the guys who are killing it. Look, you're going to hear from a guy later. Bernie, you've heard of him? Bernie and I may come from different places and have different stories, but whether you're from Vermont or the Rust Belt or anywhere else, you can see and feel that corporate power is out of control. And it's hurting us. It's hurting this country. It's true here all across Pennsylvania. I am proud to be from Western Pennsylvania. You come with me, I'll drive you across my district, from the AK Valley, where we used to make a heck of a lot of glass out the Ohio River, to the West Virginia, Ohio borders. Steel country. We made the steel that built this country, that helped us beat the crap out of the fascists and the Nazis in World War II. But that corporate power and their race to the bottom, they stabbed communities like ours right in the heart. They tried to strip us for parts. Chasing the cheapest and weakest worker rules, environmental rules, putting profit and only profit above everything else. We saw mills close and factories hollowed out, and it hurt communities in Pennsylvania. That story is not unique to us. It's played out across our country. That endless, reckless pursuit of profit at any cost is still hurting all of us. We see it. We see it all over this land of ours, and it puts us at risk. Something else has to matter beyond just profits. Our safety has to matter. Our jobs, our community, this country of ours. And look, Donald Trump understood, as do all of we, that people are pissed off. They should be pissed off at that. What has he offered? What has he done to capitalize on anger? He offers snake oil of hate, division, autocracy. That's not what we need. We're here to call out that bullshit. Am I right? Your prescription drugs aren't costing you an arm and a leg because of woke culture. That's not what hollowed out factory towns. Owning a home or childcare hasn't got expensive because of a trans person seeking dignity in their life. That has not made life more expensive. We're not going to let their culture war stuff divide us when they're the ones with their heels on your necks. Doesn't have to be like this. Democrats took on robber barons of the New Deal. We have done this in our party, in my party. We can break their chokehold in our politics. I think we can do it again. But I'm told some people don't want to fight. If any of you want to roll over and give up on this country? Are you guys ready to fight? Damn right. When the American dream is under attack, we fight. When corporate power rips us off, what do? We fight. When big hedge funds buy up housing and drive up the cost, what do? We fight. When Donald Trump tramples on our Constitution, what do? We fight. Listen, there is a path forward for all of us, and I think we get it. That fighting spirit that you have is what my party needs to go to the mat for hardworking people against anyone who stands in our way. Are you in for that fight? I think hardworking people in this country need a bigger slice of the pie. I think we got to grow the damn pie too. We can do both of those things. And you know what? We got to be clear what we're fighting against and what we're fighting for. I'll tell you some things I believe in. We got to root out corruption wherever it is. That's right. I serve in the Congress. We got to ban congressional stock trading today. It's outrageous. These people get access, sensitive information, and they get rich trading on our jobs. It's a betrayal of the public trust. And we got to get the goddamn super PAC money out of our elections. We're not going to do this alone. We got to organize, hold the line, and get loud. When the Republicans tried to take away the Affordable Care Act and Obamacare, folks held the line and beat it back, and we can do it again today. We're going to build an economy that works for everyone. You know what we also got to do? We got to tax the billionaires. Come on. No more billionaire handouts. We got to fight the monopolies that are crushing workers and crushing small businesses, driving up costs for all of us. And I know labor's here. We got to strengthen the labor movement in this country. That's right. I want my party to be the party of working people, period. Whether you work in a factory or a hospital, behind the wheel, behind a desk. All work has dignity. Am I right? Doesn't matter if you call them oligarchs, robber barons, or corporate jagoffs. We know which side they're on, and I know which side I am on. Where are you guys in this? You against these guys? Let's go. Now look, I'll tell you this. I wore the uniform. I was willing to risk my life for this country. I see clearly what they are doing threatens us here at home. That our freedom is at risk. We have to seize this moment to beat back this corporate power. To build a more free, more just, a more prosperous America. And we got to win this righteous fight. Think we can win it? Now look. There is someone here today who's been living and breathing this fight for a long time. A long time. A champion for workers. I will tell you, the oligarchs hate this guy. They hate him. That should be a source of great pride. The guy who brought us all together tonight, Senator from Vermont, Bernie Sanders.
A lot of energy tonight for fighting for everything that labor and the working class deserves. If you're following us on this live stream, this is Ashley and John reporting on the ground live from Bernie Sanders' Fight the Oligarchy Tour, where Bernie Sanders is about to take the stage. And again, we will be doing interviews with people after all of the speakers, so please do stay tuned with us tonight.
Thank you, Harrisburg. What a fantastic turnout. Thank you all very much for being here. Let me thank Nate Davidson, State Representative. Let me thank Maurice Cobb, Jim Enders, and Angela Ferrito of the trade union movement right here in Pennsylvania. And let me thank Congressman Chris DeLuzio for the great work that he's doing for workers all over this country. Thank you, Chris. You know, I have been traveling this country lately. We've been in the Southwest, we've been in the Midwest, we've been in California, and we're here in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And we have talked to a whole lot of folks, not just Democrats. We've talked to Republicans who have come out, and I would not be surprised if there are more than a few Republicans here tonight. And we've talked to independents as well, and we've talked to people who have kind of given up on the political process. And what we are hearing loudly and clearly is the American people say no to oligarchy, say no to authoritarianism, and say no to an economy in which the rich are getting richer while working people are struggling. And on that note, I want to say a word to your Congressman, Representative Scott Perry. As some of you may know, the Republican leadership in the House and Senate are working on what is called a reconciliation bill. It's Trump's big, beautiful bill. And what this big, beautiful bill will do is cut over $800 billion in Medicaid, cut nutrition programs for hungry kids, and cut educational programs. And at a time of massive income and wealth inequality, what they propose to do with those savings is to give over $1 trillion in tax breaks to the 1%. Now, I am not in the habit of giving political advice to Republicans, but I would say this to Representative Perry. If you vote for tax breaks for billionaires and cut Medicaid, you will not be returning to Washington next term. Now, what is happening right now all across this country? We saw it in Philadelphia. Yesterday, we're seeing it all over America. Is that people are sick and tired of a handful of billionaires running the United States government. And I want you to think about it for a moment. Think about the richest man on earth, Mr. Musk. Worth $400 billion, running all over Washington, D.C., dismantling the Social Security Administration so it's harder for older disabled people to get the benefits they paid into. Proposing to cut 83,000 jobs from the Veterans Administration. I mean, that's hard to believe. You got men and women who put their lives on the line to defend our country. There should be no disagreement, Republican, Democrat, Independent, that those veterans deserve the best care they can get. So we say to Mr. Musk and his billionaire friends, we are not going to allow you to dismantle Social Security or the VA. And what I think there is also profound disgust with, and again, from the right to the left, everybody understands that we have a corrupt campaign finance system. Now think about it for a moment. Think about the fact that Mr. Musk himself contributed $270 million to get Trump elected, and then for his reward, he becomes the most powerful person in government. But I want to be very clear in stating this also. This is not just a problem within the Republican Party, it's a problem within the Democratic Party as well. I would say the overwhelming majority of Americans, again, regardless of your political view, do not believe that billionaires should be buying and selling politicians. And when we talk about oligarchy, I want you to think back 3 months or so ago when Trump was inaugurated. And remember this scene. I got kind of pushed into the front row. I kind of walked in there and said, Bernie, you're up front there. So I had the privilege about being as close to Trump as you guys are to me. And sitting right behind Trump were the three wealthiest people in America. You remember that? Mr. Musk, Mr. Bezos, and Mr. Zuckerberg. And then sitting right behind those guys were another 13 billionaires who Trump had nominated to head up major federal agencies. Now, I think all of us remember from our school days when we learned about the Battle of Gettysburg right here in Pennsylvania. And it was a terrible battle. And 20,000 Union soldiers either died or were wounded on that day fighting to help end slavery. And a few days later, as you all know, President Abraham Lincoln went to the battlefield where just a few days ago people had died, horrible battle. And he looked out on that field and he said that so many words, our vision for the future of America is a government of the people, by the people, for the people. We will not accept a government of the billionaire class, by the billionaire class, for the billionaire class. But it is not just oligarchy and the power of the billionaire class that we are fighting. We are today taking on a president who in an unprecedented way is undermining our Constitution and threatens our freedom of speech and assembly. A president whose agents are rounding up innocent people right off of the streets, throwing them into unmarked vans, and putting them in detention centers in this country and abroad. That is what happens in dictatorships, not democracies. And President Trump We are not going to allow you to create an authoritarian society here in America. But it is not just arresting people without due process and putting them in detention centers. Trump, again, in an unprecedented way, is suing media for the crime of running stories he doesn't like. And right now, and I want to say this to CBS, the family, I don't know how many of you know this, 60 Minutes did a story during the campaign that Trump didn't like. So he decided to sue CBS and 60 Minutes for billions of dollars, and they are thinking of reaching some kind of settlement. And they want to reach this settlement because they are in the process, the family that owns Paramount, that owns CBS, is in the process of trying to sell Paramount to some other company. And in the process, they would make several $billions. So I say to that Redstone family, do not sell out democracy for $1 billion. President Trump is going after law firms. Going after law firms whose lawyers represented clients that attacked him, went after him or his friends. And some of those law firms are caving in. So I say to those law firms, your job is to protect the rule of law, not sell out to an authoritarian president. Trump and his administration are going after major universities. And I want to applaud Harvard University for having the guts to stand up to him. So we got a lot to worry about in terms of oligarchy and authoritarianism and a rigged economy, but it's not just domestic policy. It's foreign policy as well. For the first time in the history of our country, we have a president who is cuddling up to a terrible dictator in Russia, Vladimir Putin. So I say, Mr. President, it was not Ukraine that began this war, it was Russia. And we're going to defend democracy, not dictatorship. But it is not just Ukraine. Trump is continuing the terrible policies of the Biden administration in proposing billions more for the Netanyahu war machine against the people of Gaza. Not only does he want $8 billion more in military aid to continue the killing of women and children in Gaza, they have an idea that is so unbelievable that people didn't originally take it seriously. And their idea, as some of you may be familiar with, is to forcibly expel the suffering people of Gaza so they could build a playground for their billionaire friends, a Riviera. Mr. Trump, we will never let you get away with that. And I want to do something that we don't do very much in Congress, and the corporate media doesn't do it as well, and that is to take a real hard look at what's going on in our country today in terms of working families. Today in America, as you may or may not know, we have more income and wealth inequality than we have ever had in the history of our country. If you can believe it, you got one man, Mr. Musk, owning more wealth than the bottom 53% of American households. You got the top 1% now owning more wealth than the bottom 93% of Americans. You got CEOs now making 350 times what workers make. And we don't talk about it much, but let me tell you something as to why I believe the American people are so angry. Over the last 52 years, as all of you know, there has been a huge increase and an explosion in technology and in worker productivity. Every worker in America today is producing much, much more than he or she did 52 years ago. And yet, if you look at inflation adjusted for weekly income, the average American worker today is earning less than she or he did 52 years ago. And during that period, there has been a massive $1 trillion+ transfer of wealth from the bottom 90% to the top 1%. That is what's going on in America today. Very rich becoming unbelievably rich, while at the same time, again, hard to believe, in the richest country on earth, 60% of our people are living paycheck to paycheck. I grew up in a family that lived paycheck to paycheck. Many of you are living paycheck to paycheck. You all know what living paycheck to paycheck is about? What does it mean? You tell me. Rent? Oh, one at a time. Raise your hand. Yeah, ma'am. All right. Utilities, medical bills. Right now, people all over this country are seeing significant increases in their rent. All right, they're seeing increases in their utility bills. And if you're living paycheck to paycheck and you got nothing in the bank, you're living under great stress because you can't pay those bills. What else we got? Yes, ma'am. Food. All right. You know, people are increasingly want to make sure that their kids eat well, not junk food, eat decently. And yet it is harder and harder when you walk into the grocery store to pay for decent quality food, right? All right. And I go grocery shopping in Burlington, Vermont, and I see senior citizens looking at the package, holding it up. How much does it cost? Can they afford it? So the increased price of food is a growing problem. What else we got? Gentlemen back there. No, what? Prescription drugs. In America today, if you get sick, just talk to somebody here in Harrisburg. If you get sick, there is a 1 in 4 chance you're not going to be able to fill the prescription your doctor wrote. Because we pay the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs so that the drug companies can make zillions of dollars in profit every single year. What else is on people's minds? Yes, young lady right there. Education. Just talked to some kids today. love to go to college, love to get an apprenticeship program. I was in one of your schools today, beautiful kids. And I sat and thought about these kids in Vermont, kids all over this country who want to go out and improve life in the country. We have desperate needs in America in terms of doctors, nurses, pharmacists, dentists, electricians, plumbers, sheet metal workers, construction workers, teachers. And yet, despite all of that need, these kids are saying, we don't know if we can afford to get the education that we need to do the work we want to do and work that the country desperately needs. All right, let me just say this, because I went through this with my family, and I see this every day as Vermont senator and as I go around the country. In America today, millions and millions of people are dealing with incredible amounts of stress. And that is one of the reasons why in our country, not only do we have a life expectancy that is 4 years shorter than people in other wealthy countries, but for the working class of America, it is 7 years shorter than for the rich. So here is the point, and this is a point that is very rarely made. If we were living in a poor country, we would have a certain type of discussion. I would come before you and I would say, you know, I'm a U.S. Senator. We're living in a really poor country. I wish we could provide health care. I wish we could provide education. I wish we could lower the cost of prescription. We just can't do it. We are a poor country. But that is not the case. We are the richest country in the history of the world. Now, what the establishment does is they create a situation where they tell you that politics is about a horse race, who's going to run for president, who's going to win, what kind of dumb thing did Bernie Sanders or somebody else say. That ain't politics. Real politics is taking a hard look at where we are today and where we want to go into the future. And where we are today is in an economy where the working class of this country is struggling and in many respects falling further and further behind, while the people on top have never ever had it so good in the history of the United States. And our job is to get smart, to figure out why that is happening and how we can turn it around. And in these unprecedented times, we've got to think in unprecedented ways. So what I am asking all of you, it's not Bernie, I'm not going to do it for you. Deluzio's not going to do it for you. We have got to do it together. We got to get involved in the political process in many, many ways, because right now, with a few exceptions, what goes on is billionaires in both parties determine who runs for office, determine what the agenda of those candidates are. And our job right now is to demand and make certain that the agenda of the Democratic Party is the agenda of the working class of this country. And let me tell you a little bit, and it's important, you know, I deal with politicians every day, and people can give you wonderful speeches, they are dramatic, they're loud, they're witty, but they don't say anything. And your job is to make sure they do say what's relevant. Let me give you just a few examples. Number one, we're going to go nowhere as a nation unless we get rid of this disastrous campaign finance system. So when somebody comes before you and they say, I want your vote, you ask them, are you going to get rid of this terrible, undemocratic, Citizens United Supreme Court decision and move to public funding of elections? At a time when the rich are getting richer and major American corporations pay almost nothing, some of them pay almost nothing in federal taxes. Why don't you ask them if they are prepared at a time of unprecedented income and wealth inequality to pass legislation telling the rich and large corporations they are finally going to start paying their fair share of taxes. All over this country, workers want to join unions. And they want to join unions because they know that when you're in a union, you're going to get better wages, better working conditions, better benefits. But right now, large corporations acting illegally are preventing workers from creating unions. Ask the candidates in front of you whether they support what's called the PRO Act to end illegal corporate intimidation of workers who want to join a union. In America today, here in Pennsylvania, and all over this country, we got millions of workers earning starvation wages. Nobody anywhere in America can make it on $7.25 an hour, not on $10 an hour, not on $13 an hour. In Washington and here in Pennsylvania, we've got to raise the minimum wage to a living wage. And I've introduced legislation to raise it to at least $17 an hour. And here is an issue that some may think is controversial. I don't. And some of the unions are now raising it. All of you have noticed that Musk and his friends have fired thousands and thousands of federal employees. Now think for a moment. These employees, federal government employees, many of them union members, get fired overnight. What do you think Musk and his oligarch friends will do when artificial intelligence and robotics comes for your job? Do you think they're going to say, oh, well, we're going to work out something for you? They're going to throw you right out on the street. That's what they'll do if we let them. So right now, at a time when workers are producing much more, worker productivity is increasing, we should be thinking about a 32-hour work week with no loss in pay. Technology should benefit workers, not just the large corporations who own that technology. We need the best educated workforce in the world. And that is why our kids should have the opportunity to live out their dreams, to get the training they need, the higher education they need. 120 years ago, very brave people around the country, I think it started in Wisconsin, demanded free public education for their kids. And for all that period of time, free public education meant K through 12. God didn't create K through 12. The world is changing. Kids need more education. Let us make public colleges and universities tuition free. And by the way, if we are going to have the best public education system in the world, we need to pay teachers the value of what they're worth. And I've introduced legislation to make certain that no teacher in America starts off at less than $60,000 a year. Many of you don't know this because it's not talked about, but 22% of senior citizens in America are living on $15,000 a year or less. Got that? Can you imagine anybody, let alone a senior, living on $15,000 or less? And in the midst of that, you got some Republicans who are saying they want to cut Social Security. Well, we're not going to let them cut Social Security. What we are going to do is expand Social Security benefits. And we do that by lifting the cap on taxable income. You know, I get around the world a bit. Just the other night, last week, I had a very nice dinner with the ambassadors from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, and Finland. And we chatted. And I said, just out of curiosity, how much does it cost to go to a doctor in one of your countries? And they looked at me like I was a little bit crazy. Of course, in those countries, in many countries around the world, healthcare is seen as a human right, not a privilege. It is an absolute disgrace and a failure of our corrupt political system that we remain the only major country on earth not to guarantee health care to every man, woman, and child. Right now, if you can believe it, again, I keep saying if you can believe it, because these things are so outrageous. We have 85 million Americans uninsured or underinsured. Many of you have high deductibles, am I right? All right. And by the way, people in other countries don't even know what the concept of deductible is. The idea that you have insurance, but you got to pay the first $5,000, $10,000 out of your own pocket is literally crazy. All right? So we got 85 million uninsured or underinsured. We have 68,000 people dying every year. You know why they're dying? Because they can't afford to go to a doctor when they should. Talk to doctors, I do, in Vermont, around the country. And they will tell you patients walk in much sicker than they should be. Brothers and sisters, health care belongs to all, rich and poor, young and old. And that is why I have reintroduced, with 15 co-sponsors in the Senate, Medicare for All single-payer program. Donald Trump thinks that climate change is a hoax. He is very dangerously wrong. And we can create millions of good-paying union jobs, transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy. In Harrisburg and in Burlington, Vermont, and in many parts of this country, we have a major housing crisis. You got 800,000 people who are homeless in our country. You got 20 million people who are spending 50% or more of their limited incomes on housing. In my view, we should cut the $1 trillion in military spending and invest that in building low-income and affordable housing. The brothers and sisters, these are some of the issues that we've got to deal with. And I want to reiterate once again, what the system, what the establishment, what the media, what politicians do is essentially tell you, you are powerless. The oligarchs have all the power. They own the media. They own the political system. They own the economy. And they tell you nothing you can do about it. Well, I'm here tonight to tell you that there's a hell of a lot you can do about it. I'm here tonight to tell you there is no rational reason why we are behind so many other countries in terms of health care, in terms of housing. We have the highest rate of childhood poverty of almost any major country. Highest rate of senior poverty of almost any major country. More income and wealth inequality than almost any other country. Brothers and sisters, this is an unprecedented moment in American history, no question about it. But what I believe in my heart is that while these guys have all of the power and they have unlimited sums of money, if we stand together and not allow Trump and his friends do what demagogues always do. How do they stay in power? They divide us by the color of our skin or where we were born or our sexual orientation. They get us to hate each other. But if we stand together and demand a government and an economy that works for all, not just the few, if we understand that at the end of the day, 99% is a hell of a larger number than 1%. If we have the courage to go outside of our zones of comfort, talk to other people, talk to your Republican friends. They don't think that billionaires should get tax breaks. They don't think that Musk should be destroying Social Security. So let us stand together. Let us defeat oligarchy. Let us defeat authoritarianism and create a government and economy that works for all of us, not just the few. Thank you all very much.
So that was Bernie Sanders, the man of the hour, has spoken. Bernie doing his thing, running through his greatest hits, calling to grow our labor movement, fund public schools, protect our social services that working people rely on, raise the minimum wage, introduce Medicare for all, cut military spending, build affordable housing, and tax the rich. And as you can see on the live stream, there is a lot of energy here tonight amongst the 1,500 or so people gathered here to fight for the working class and everything that working people deserve. So stay tuned with us. John Farina and I are going to make our way through the crowd and try to talk to working people about why they showed up tonight. So again, do stay tuned because we're going to be hanging here for a while talking to working people about why they were here tonight. right, John and I are moving through the crowd now, and we're going to, again, be interviewing people and talking to them about why they were here tonight. We are going to go outside. John suggested that we get away from the music, which is probably a very good idea. So as you can see, people are filtering out now. And again, just hang tight with us while we make our way outside too and talk to people again about why they were here tonight. And if you can, now would be a very good time while you're waiting with us to sign up as a paid member of Status Coup. You can do that at statuscoup.com/join. It takes us a lot to be able to do this. John and I just kind of picked up and went so that we could cover this event for you guys. And again, it takes a lot of resources. So if you can, please do support us. You can do this for as little as $5 a month, which works out to about 16 cents a day. So not very much at all. And it really helps us to be able to cover all of the things that we think are important for working people to see. We want to be able to be out here more and show you how people are feeling and thinking on the ground in other parts of the country. So please do become a paid member of StatusCoup.com, of Status Coup at statuscoup.com/join. So our initial estimates of how many people here were probably a little bit off. John is thinking that there is actually probably closer to like 5,000 people, not 1,500. So very, very large crowd, again, of like 5,000 people. And the energy has been great for the 5,000 people who are here. It has been a very, very lively crowd. Lots of cheering for fighting for working people. As you can see, we are making our way out of this giant door. We're going to try to get around. Kind of a pretty scenery.
Okay, so we'll read that.
Want to go over here so I can talk for a minute before we start interviewing people? Okay, so just for everyone who is just joining us on the live stream, I just wanted to say hi to everybody because we didn't really get a chance to say hi before we got started today. Everything just got going, and it was exciting to see Bernie speaking. So, again, this is Ashley with Status Coup News. John Farina and I are on the ground in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where, as you can see, we have been covering Bernie Sanders' Fight the Oligarchy tour, which is, again, in Harrisburg. Everyone is kind of filtering out. All the speakers have spoken tonight. Bernie just ended just a little while ago. There were roughly 5,000 people here tonight. So again, a pretty big crowd. It was very lively, lots of energy. And again, we've been covering the Fight the Oligarchy tour. This is our second stop, and tomorrow we will be stopping in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. As I am sure viewers know, Bernie Sanders has been holding these rally stops essentially all across the country, doing what he does best, talking about everything that working people deserve and fighting the oligarchy and the class war waged against the working class. Tonight was no different, and clearly this message has been resonating with a lot of people. Again, there were 5,000 people here. All of these, a lot of these rallies have been drawing crowds in the tens of thousands. So clearly this message seems to be hitting with a lot of people, and it kind of makes sense to me why. Working people are clearly struggling, and everyone that I've spoken to tonight already has said that they feel like they are struggling and have illustrated the struggle that they've been going through. So again, it's no surprise to me that there's so many people showing up for Bernie in this moment, and 100 days after Trump has taken office, on the promise of improving the lives of working people and making them easier and better, it doesn't seem like that's come to fruition. Instead, we are staring down a recession and empty stores, empty shelves on store shelves just in a few weeks. I think by like May 10th, we're supposed to start seeing that the real effect of the tariffs hit. Just to kind of add to this picture of what is going on right now, Trump also proposed his new budget earlier today. There are going to be $163 billion in cuts to social services, essentially, and $1 trillion going to military spending. So I don't think any of those things are going to improve the lives of working people who showed up tonight. And again, I think that this turnout for Bernie under the banner of fighting the oligarchy kind of tells you where working people stand on this. So we are going to walk around and talk to folks, and stay tuned. We'll try to get as many voices as we can on the ground for you guys. So stay tuned. We're going to do that now.
Just stay here and pull them aside.
Excuse me. We're with Status Coup News. We're just going around talking to people about why they showed up for Bernie today. I would love to hear your thoughts on what you thought of the rally, if there was anything that really resonated with you, and why you came to begin with.
There's hi. There's so many things. I've never been so political in my life, and following with not all the news outlets, but with a lot of YouTubers and people that are just speaking up. I think it's really important to show up while our economy is crashing and our human rights are being stripped away, and just a lot of unfairness and hypocrisy in the government. Sorry, I'm out of breath.
No, you're good. I mean, a lot of what we talked about tonight are exactly those things that you're outlining here. And I think, it's important to also kind of talk about, like, how working people are struggling. I mean, is there a reason like that brought you out here? Do you feel like you've been struggling in some way? Does that message resonate with you?
Yes, I've had my moments where I've struggled financially, but right now I'm fortunate enough to not be in that same situation. But I don't have to wait until it happens to me to, stand in solidarity with other people. It's just not fair for it to happen to anybody. So again, it doesn't have to necessarily affect me or someone in particular to stand up. And I think it's incredibly important. And what I feel Bernie with this tour is waking people up to just understand how things are going, and like just the process of what would make this. It's like a domino effect. Hopefully I'm explaining it correctly. There are a lot of people that just blindly might agree with something, and I'm I've done that before, but I feel like once we understand what's going on and how it's gonna be affecting everyone, then we the people will finally have a great advantage to take over all the abuse and waste, fraud, and abuse and all that they're saying.
Absolutely, yeah. Standing up for all of the things that we were told, the Trump administration told us that they were going to be standing up for. Are there any other thoughts that you would want to share with Status Coup viewers about the event and again, anything that resonated with you in particular?
I don't know who said, I think it was Kamala Harris, but she said, along the lines, don't quote me, but someone said that fear is contagious, but courage is contagious as well. So yes, we're living in a very dark moment, and it's not like fascism is coming. Yes, it is coming, but fascism has affected other people in different names. We've had throughout history, we've had the massacring of the Native Americans and the relocation of Native Americans, segregation and everything. It has been here forever. It's just I feel like it's affecting a wider range of people, and that's why we're like standing up. It's like the final nail in the coffin. So it's not relatively something new, but it's something that people are finally, fighting for, and just understanding at a basic level.
Absolutely. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for talking with us. This was great.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you. Take care. All right. Let's go.
All right. We're going to move in the direction of where the rest of the crowd is going.
Oh yeah, see, I don't want to get like mob up. Very kind.
People moved out of here fast.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Hi, we're with Status Coup News. Would you guys like to talk with us about why you were here tonight and if this...
What news?
Status Coup. Sure. Yeah.
What are you?
We're on YouTube. You can find us on YouTube.
Okay. I don't think about any of that stuff. I don't.
That is okay.
I'm never online.
That is okay. We just want to hear your thoughts about why you came out tonight. If there's anything in particular that resonated with you at the Bernie Sanders rally.
The speakers were really inspirational. They really were. I didn't know what to expect, and to see an 80-year-old man saying what he's saying is just amazing.
With the energy that he's saying it with, too, I might add.
Absolutely. He's an amazing man. So mostly it was just to pep up my energy because the news every day is so depressing, I mean, clearly the people in charge are moving towards, fascism. There's no doubt in my mind. My dad was in the war, was a Purple Heart recipient, and he fought fascism, and to see it come back in my lifetime, particularly now that I'm in my 70s, is just so upsetting. So I come to this to get inspired.
I appreciate that. And I guess I would ask, a lot of what we talked about tonight, or a lot of what the speaker spoke about tonight, was the many, many ways in which working people are suffering in this moment. And as a working person, I would ask, how are you and your loved ones faring in this moment? Was that something that brought you out?
My parents were immigrants, and so their goal was to educate me. So we're doing fine. But I work with the mentally ill, and they're not doing well. The average income that my patients earn is like $700 a month. There is no way to live on that. And now they're threatening to take that away. They're threatening to take their medical assistance away. So the people I work with are the ones that I'm more worried about. I will be fine because I'm a physician, but they are not.
Absolutely. And I guess I would ask, what does it say about the state of the country that there are some people...
Everything Bernie says, why would the wealthiest nation in the world put up with this? It's just a disgrace. There's nothing else to say. I think they need us to get out of the way, though.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you speaking with us. Have a good one. All right. We're going to keep talking to people.
T-shirts, hats, buttons, souvenirs, yeah.
Excuse me. Rally and ask what brought everybody out.
I brought cameras, but
Sorry.
Shirts, headphones, get your merch, people, then the
I don't care at this point.
Shirts, headphones, get your merch.
Oh, come on, man. Get grab on there. The English work makes sense now that they're Andreas Finger. We're with Status Coup. Okay. You can find us on YouTube. If you go on YouTube and look up Status Coup, that's where you'll find us. Sure. Cool. So we just wanted to get a sense of what brought you out here today. Why were you coming here to support Bernie Sanders? And was there anything in particular that resonated with you at the rally? Anything that was said?
Well, I think it's really important that everyone remember that due process is so important in this country. And I brought my son here because he needs to see that that's important. And that it's really hard for a lot of people in this country. They're struggling a lot. And I think that there's a lot of blame on the wrong people. So I think that we need to work together and talk about these things that are hard, but that I really like the message of the union representatives about, we are the ones that build America, the people that work. So we're talking about the trades, the teachers, everyone. And that's important. And that's what it's about.
Absolutely. And I guess I would ask, all of this is happening under the banner of fighting the oligarchy. So what does fighting the oligarchy mean to you? What would you like to see people doing so that we can, fight for working people and the things that working people deserve?
Well, I think the big money in the elections is a problem because these representatives, there's not really pressure on them, some of them, to really fight for the people. If they've got just a small percentage of people that have a lot of money that can vote for them. So that's, unfortunately, until that big money gets out, I'm not really sure. But regular everyday people have to just, come together and, and that's it, I guess.
Absolutely. And I guess I just as a final question, I would ask, I've asked a lot of people today and talked to them just about their lives. And again, we're talking about working people suffering. How are you and your family doing? I've spoken again to other people who have told me about being laid off recently and all that kind of stuff. And I think that, beyond a lot of the things that we're talking about, like fighting for democracy, which is we should be doing that. There is this underlying, kind of story of people feeling like they're suffering now, and they've been suffering, and, this is a way to kind of look for ways to alleviate that. So I guess, again, I would just ask, how are you and your family doing? And is there something like that comes to mind for you?
Well, we're really lucky. I do have health insurance, but it's really hard with the deductibles, and so like every appointment, every specialist. So there's a lot of money then that can't be saved for other things, for emergencies, and that's important because I think for my son's generation, I think a lot of people are like, oh, I'd like to be able to help my children when they're older. And we're just like, we don't want to be a burden on him, So like no money left over for emergencies, no money, for saving for the future. And that's, that's pretty scary, actually.
Absolutely. And again, that's, a lot of what I've heard echoed from other people too. So I guess I would ask if there's any other thoughts that you'd want to share with Status Coup viewers about any of this?
I mean, I think that, that both of obviously we have a two-party system, so that's a problem. But the Dems are at fault for a lot of stuff, too. And I think that it's very easy to just be like, oh, well, it's just the current administration. Yes, there's a lot of problems with the due process, but the whole system, there's a problem. And so, and it's been brewing for a long time. This is nothing new. So when people are like, I can't believe he won again. Really? Really? You couldn't believe it? It's like 2016. Yeah. We have to be realistic about what this country is, and we've never, people say, we want to go back to being nice again, we want to go back to this. Well, what point were we actually really nice and kind to people? We really, did everyone in society fully participate? They never have, Take black women, for example, who pretty much vote for the Dems 93% of the time, and what do they get out of it? We have like maternal health problems, concerns, black women dying at like higher rates. We have people who can't, afford housing. We've got, it's just, so I think moving forward, we have to say, actually, this is who we are, but we aspire for more. From everyone, and it's okay to call out. You don't have the fidelity, to this Democratic Party because they also haven't served people. Obviously we've got immediate, acute due process issues. That's a crisis, but let's not take our eye off the ball. The other things too, and that we need to say that this we're a racist country. We've got a lot of issues with that, and that's not new. So let's just not pretend like, clutch our pearls, like, oh, this, the end of the world for me. Yeah, it is for you, I guess, because you've never maybe faced certain things, but a lot of people are going through things for a long time. And so we need to, be mindful of that. And the best things we can teach our kids is that, most of us do want the same things. We want to be able to, work hard and have, our families, and we want to go out and enjoy nature and, be together. And so I think that we need to just keep that in mind, and that our kids, unfortunately, my generation, I'm Gen X, and we've talk about the boomers. No, we're in charge now in a way too. We're screwing people over. We're screwing them over, and so I am hopeful with the way that his generation is so much more open to just different types of people. There's not even a big deal from people from different places that sound different, that speak different languages. We speak another language at home, so and they don't bat an eye, and I love that. But we don't act now like there's not going to be stuff for them anyway to be able to enjoy with their, so.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was really, really articulate, and I really appreciate your thoughts on all of this. So thank you again. Appreciate it. Have a good rest of your night, Ashley.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Kelly. Bye.
What are you again?
We are Status Coup. You can find us on YouTube.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Have a great night. All right. Looks like a lot of people have cleared out. I think we're going to walk over toward where the cars are and see if we can talk to maybe another couple of people before we close out here. So hang with us, and while we see if we can talk to some more people before we head out for the night.
Yeah, but give me a card.
We are with Status
He's a better talker than me.
Yeah. Okay.
Who's it with?
Status Coup.
To segregate.
You can find us on YouTube at Status Coup.
They're trying to do this.
Status Coup?
Status Coup.
Yeah.
And I read the policy.
Awesome. Would you guys mind talking with us about your thoughts on the rally and what brought you out here tonight?
Well, we want to take America back. We want to make America already is great. And our president's view is take America back 100 years. Make America a prejudiced country like it used to be. The man has no morals. He's a convicted sex offender, and he should be in jail. He shouldn't be on the stage. He's nothing more than a talk show actor. And it's time we take America back. We need our country. We're losing democracy. Anybody that doesn't think that we have freedoms in this country needs to go to a third world country and see what Donald Trump wants our country to be. We need to take our country back. Vote all of them out of office. Vote people that are for the people in this country.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what brought you out here tonight?
To support all the Democrats and everybody to get our country back to the way it's supposed to be. I mean, I never thought I'd see this day that this country would be the way it is because of one man and all his clowns. It's just wrong. We need to take it back, and we will.
Absolutely. And I guess I've been asking a lot of people the same question, and I'm going to ask it of you guys too. A lot of what we talked about tonight, a lot of what the speaker spoke about tonight was, the many ways in which working people in this country are struggling to get by. Did that message resonate with you guys? How are you and your loved ones, your family doing in this moment?
Well, I've always been a strong believer in work hard and you can succeed. And nowhere else in the world can you achieve your goals like in the United States of America. We have a wonderful country here, and I never thought that we would be facing somebody like we have right now, and that was put in office that mainly because of social media and how biased it is. People believe they believe everything they see, and that's Donald Trump was on a fake program, The Apprentice. That was all a stage thing. He never had the value that he always pretended to have. And people in this country really need to wise up and put their opinions aside and save democracy before we lose it. And I'm thankful for Bernie to stand up for Americans. He knows what it's like to come from a working class family, so he knows what it's like you and I. Donald Trump probably never went grocery shopping in his life, let alone probably drive a car or anything like that. The man sits on a golden toilet seat. So he has no idea, like common people. He can't even fathom that. We can't fathom being a billionaire. He can't fathom being like we are, working class people.
Absolutely, and he gets to dictate how the working class people live, and we don't get to dictate how the billionaires live.
Dictate, because that's what the man is a dictator. Yeah, he bows down to Putin. He bows down to the dictator. He idolizes the dictators of the world, and the people that are friends he's trying to make our enemies. But people around the world are smarter than what he thinks. They know. They don't hate Americans. They hate him, because of what he's trying to do with all our friends and allies. So.
Absolutely. And I guess I would ask you, what is your experience of being a working person in this country?
busted my ass my whole life to get where I'm at. I'm retired now, so is my twin brother. We're both pipe fitters. And it's just a shame because our retirement's going to go and everything else. And so, next year we'll be getting Social Security, and I'm hoping it's still there. The harder we fight for it, the more we're going to keep it. We need to get that, out of office and put all the Dems back in there so we get Congress back, take our country back. That's where we deserve to be.
Absolutely. And I guess I would ask, a follow-up to both of you, as far as getting the Democrats back in office. Do you think that the Democrats are doing enough right now to meet this moment? I guess I would also add, we have gotten to this place with both Democrats and Republicans in office. So, I would say not defending Republicans for sure.
Well,
but
yeah, the problem is our country's so divided because of Donald Trump. He spews hate. He anybody that is against him or what he thinks is against him, he runs it over and over and over again that they're the enemy. They think every Democrat is the enemy. I used to be a Republican. I consider myself a conservative Democrat. I switched parties because the Republican Party isn't what it used to be. And anybody that thinks that is they're out in left field. Right now, the Republican Party is just for wealthy people. They're not for the working class. They're out for themselves, and that's it, pretty much it. So.
Absolutely. And did you recently switch party affiliation?
A few years back, probably. I want to say, it's quite a few years back when Ronald Reagan ran. I just I couldn't take it anymore. I just couldn't take what he wanted to. The Republicans stole out of Social Security. They said, we're going to borrow out of it and pay it back. They never paid it back. A lot of people don't even know that. They borrowed during the Reagan administration. They stole money out of Social Security to help their pet peeve projects, and they never paid it back. So, that's the start of a decline in a system. I paid all my life into that. I think I'm entitled to that money. I am entitled to that money. I worked hard for that money. Not to give it away to somebody that already has money that, that so.
I appreciate all of that. And I guess I hear some thunder, so I would just ask, do you guys have any final thoughts that you'd want to share with Status Coup viewers before I let you escape the impending rain?
Kick the clown show out of office and put some good people back in.
Perfect closing statement. All right. Thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you. Have a good one. All right. I mean, it sounds like, okay, John's battery is dying. It sounds like there's about to be a thunderstorm. So we are going to close out. Thank you for everyone who watched John and I on the ground at Bernie Sanders Fight the Oligarchy Tour. We will be back tomorrow in Bethlehem. So please do stay tuned, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.